Hey everybody, it's Vicky with Dementia with Grace. I hope y'all are doing great today. Today we are going to be talking about the letter J in our ABCs of Dementia FAQs series. It is the series about all the most commonly asked questions on Google or YouTube or Pinterest, those are the top 3 search engines. And today we are going to talk about jealousy. Jealousy rears its ugly head in every relationship, in every heart, every person at some time in our lives, and it's no different in the lives of someone with dementia. The difference in jealousy in dementia is that it has an irrational component. Some things are rational. We will talk about the difference. I believe there are 2 types of jealousy, at least 2 types of jealousy in dementia, and we're going to talk about both of them. The first one we will talk about is the actual delusional jealousy that we see most often. It's also called Othello Syndrome. Or morbid jealousy, and all that means is that it is a jealousy that is accompanying a disease process, which would be morbid jealousy, and it is something that happens because of a letdown in the brain, a neurological syndrome, either a type of dementia, a stroke, a closed head injury, something like that, and when those, some kind of neurological disorder, and when those neurological disorders are present, you see a higher proclivity of someone developing jealousy. Usually, most of the time, it is jealousy over a partner. It is a wife thinking her husband is having an affair, a husband thinking his wife is having an affair. There is something like that. Sometimes it can be jealousy over not an affair, but a, you are mishandling my money, a delusional like that, but you're jealous. The jealousy part comes in of it as you're spending my money on somebody else. Not necessarily having an affair with somebody else, but now that I'm not thinking clearly, you're spending all of our money on our daughter. You're spending all of our money on a friend. It's a money situation. So usually it is, it really is just about those 2 things. The primary thing, the primary issue being with infidelity. But infidelity and spending their money are the 2 things that most primarily come up in morbid jealousy. What is happening there is, the brain is broken. We talk about the brain being a broken, it's just broken, and you wouldn't expect somebody with a broken heart, a diseased heart, to run a marathon. It is outside their scope. Same exact thing. You cannot expect somebody with a broken brain to think rationally, to think, and just for you to say, if you were to come into the argument and meet their argument and say, honey, we've been married for 60 years. I've never cheated on you. I would never cheat on you. Who would I cheat with? Who would have me? Look at me. I'm so old. I'm so whatever. All of the kinds of things that I have heard in the past that people say to defend themselves. It falls on deaf ears because they can no longer reason. The executive function, we talk about that dementia is not just memory loss. It's MCCJRI, memory, concentration, critical thinking, which is right there, judgment, MCCJR, reasoning, and insight. So the reasoning, critical thinking, insight, all of those things are working against them. They are failing them. They are diminished in a person with dementia. And so those functions, those thought processes, that cognition is gone. And so they are failing. Even if it's not outright gone, it's failing. And so being able to meet them on that playing field is no longer, an option. They can no longer reason, critical think, use their insight. It's just gone. So then what do? What you do is respond to the feeling. What would you feel if you found out that your wife or your husband, your somebody was having an affair? You would be angry, possibly scared, and we'll talk about how it's scary in the next thing, the next part of what I believe is jealousy. Respond to the feeling. Oh, that must make you so mad. Yes, I would be angry too. I would be angry too. And then, maybe let them vent some of that anger. Let them talk to you. Let them argue with you. Let them fuss with you, and don't take it personally. And just allow that to happen. And then just know that that is their broken brain. You cannot control that. And they cannot control that. Think of another disease. Think of diabetes. Would you allow yourself to be blamed for their blood sugar, going up to 300? No, you didn't have anything to do with it. But it's got to be managed. That blood sugar has to be managed. So in the same way that a diabetic, a symptom of diabetes has to be managed, a symptom of dementia has to be managed. And, you don't take it personally, and you just help them through it. Some of those things may look like extra love, extra patting, extra affection, extra time. All of those kind of things. They just may be feeling that because their mind is playing a trick on them. They can't remember that you have spent all morning with them, or they don't remember that you just went to the store and you were right back. They may think that you were gone for several hours, and that needs an answer in their brain. They need to make order out of chaos, so they need to come up with, why was he at the store for 5 hours to pick up bread and lunch meat and milk? Why did that take 4 hours when you were only gone 15 minutes? But in her brain, in his brain, it took you 4 hours. And so, you're not going to be able to explain that away. You just can't. You can't say, I was gone. Remember, a 30-minute program was on when I left, and it was still on when I got back, so that was not 4 hours. That kind of thing does not work. You just have to say, oh, that did feel like a long time. It didn't take me that long, but that felt like a long time. Look at what I bought at the store, and then talk about that. Look at what we're going to have for lunch. I bought us something for supper tonight. I bought you a surprise. I bought this, that, and the other. And get their mind off of that. And yes, they will perseverate, which means they will keep on talking about it. And you just have to keep on saying the same thing in the same exact words. Oh, that must have felt like a long time. Look at what I got us for lunch. You were gone 4 hours, and I know you were out with Sally Sue and I was only gone for just a minute. Look what I got us for lunch. And you may have to say that 15 times. And I know that is frustrating. I know that gets on your nerves. You may say then, look what I got us for lunch. Let's make lunch. Let's eat lunch. And then let's go for a walk. And let them work out their mad. Yes, it is frustrating. It is frustrating. But that is what works. And eventually, she will get off of that. He will get off of that and on to something else. And you need to be able to have some things in your wheelhouse that you can pivot to. That's what the GATHER form is all about. If you don't know about the GATHER form, the first step in our Dementia with Grace caregiver support group, I'm so used to saying that. Our book, Dementia with Grace, a new positive way of dealing with behaviors in people with dementia. Inside there's a whole chapter on doing a GATHER, filling out a GATHER tool so that you know what lights them up, what they love to talk about. And that's when you talk about those things, when this kind of thing rears its ugly head. The other type of jealousy that I see, that I have seen in my practice, that's really not talked about as much in the literature. The Othello Syndrome, all of that is more talked about in the literature, and that is what has been researched, and they've not come up with lots of other reasons than it's just the broken brain. The other thing that I see a lot is jealousy because of what they can no longer do anymore. In 3 and 4, stages 3 and 4, when they are very acutely, painfully aware of their losses, they feel jealous of somebody else being able to do what they can no longer do. You know, they feel jealous of somebody being able to go to work. They feel jealous of somebody being able to plan and execute an entire dinner party. They feel jealous of somebody being able to take care of a spouse when they no longer can. We have a lady, in fact, the lady that asked that this jealousy be done, had a situation where her father is declining medically, not mentally, not cognitively, but medically, and he had to be taken care of medically. And his wife, who had always taken expert care of him, is diminishing cognitively, and so she can no longer take care of her spouse in the way that she once did, and she has become insanely jealous of her daughter filling that role. Well, she's not jealous of her daughter having an affair with her husband, which happens in the other situation, in the other Othello jealousy. This is, I'm jealous of what you can do for the person that I love that I can no longer do. I'm jealous that you can get in a car and drive. I'm jealous that you get to go to work. I'm jealous that you can take care of these grandbabies and I can no longer take care of these grandbabies. That is a jealousy of role, a jealousy of, you know, you can do what I can no longer do, and that makes me mad as hell. And that is a real feeling. In that same way, you would try to respond to the feeling. You know, I know that hurts you. And get it out there. People are afraid to talk about feelings, and you should not be. You should not be. The person's already mad. The person's already sad. The person's already put out. You mentioning the fact that they're mad or sad or put upon is not going to make it worse. I promise you. Sometimes they need to talk about it and they don't know how to bring it up. And so you would just say, that must make you mad. I know that makes you mad. That would make me mad. That would make me sad if I were in that same situation, if I were in your shoes. There are so many things that you still can do. Let's figure that out. And then give them a job that is that impacts whatever they're sad about not being able to do. Maybe they can't go grocery shop. Maybe they can't plan a party, but they could, you know, maybe write out the place cards for the party, or they could come up with you know, something to do with the party. If they can't take care of the person who needs taken care of, they could fold their clothes. They could help you, you know, I don't know, sit there while you get their medicine ready. I mean, there are things that they can do, and you need to allow for that. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. We're going a little long. I don't like these to go this long, but it's a lot to talk about, and this is a serious subject that a lot of people talk about. The delusions. There's a video on delusions, and I will try to remember to put it right up there. That will go right along in with this video. And if you need some people that have been there, that are traveling this journey, come on over to Facebook and come to the Dementia with Grace Caregiver Support Group. There's a link down below, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place, full of help and love and joy. We try to keep things as positive as we can. We do a positivity pivot when somebody is really, really negative and they just can't shake that negativity. We talk about, you know, not sitting in the mud puddle, but, you know, you can sit in the mud puddle every now and then, but you don't need to live in the mud puddle. And that's what we're about. We're about trying to help in a positive way, make positive changes along this very negative, difficult journey, and we would love to see you there. All right, I will see you again for this series on Friday, and then now on Tuesdays and Thursdays we're talking about books, products, resources that I use as a professional caregiver that I'm sharing with you. So plug into that series as well in that playlist, okay? All right, I will talk to y'all soon. I love y'all. Bye. Mwah.